better daily, where we work hard in our minds, bodies, and our spirits to become 1% better every single day. Download the app and join our Betterment family at betterdaily.life to catch the video version of these podcasts. Here's your host and my dad, Alex Van Houten.
What is up, Betterment family? This is Alex Van Houten in Better Daily Live. Happy Thursday. It is Word Thursday, and today's word is a nice nerdy one, polyphenols. Get excited. Before we get there, happy day 12 of the Faithful 40 Challenge. We are in the grit phase of the Faithful 40 Challenge, and you guys are sticking with it. I'm very excited about how much everybody is bringing to the table. And your mindsets are still strong and helpful, and your exercise and nutrition commitments look like they're going really well. I'm going to shout out to a few people in the comments to this particular post because I haven't heard from you and I'm concerned about you. And I want you to make it through the grit phase of the Faithful 40 Challenge. So today we're going to be talking about polyphenols. Now, something you need to know about your coach here at the Betterment Company is that I'm a hardcore nerd. I went to school at Vanderbilt University with a few different areas of study, but one of the primary ones was chemical engineering. And so as much as you might love me for my health and fitness knowledge, my first love, my first scientific love was chemistry, and you'll benefit from that today, I hope. What's up, Robin? Good to see you this morning. Good to see you this morning, John. Thanks for joining me. So polyphenols. First of all, the definition of polyphenols is a class of organic compounds that are composed of multiple, poly means multiple, phenol, Phenol, phenolic molecules. And so, well, that's cool. That doesn't mean anything to the average person. What you need to remember about the word polyphenol is polyphenol means a compound that can act as an oxidative factor or something that can neutralize harmful compounds in the body. Polyphenols are actually an extremely important part of our nutrition intake on a regular basis, but they don't get any airtime. Like if you ask the average person, are you getting enough polyphenols in your food journal there? And they're like, what are you talking about? Robin says, oh yeah, I knew what polyphenols were. Wow. So I want to make this simple for you today, because on Word Thursday, oftentimes I'll take a word and I'll boil it down and share some meditations with you on it. But sometimes it's related to our spiritual walk. Sometimes it's related to the health and fitness of the betterment journey. Sometimes we have some fun. I've actually covered chickens. I'm going to do a chickens part 2 soon, which will be a lot of fun. But today's word, I mean this to be intensely practical. So polyphenols are a portion of people's diets that oftentimes they have no idea can make a really significant impact. It can make it a significant impact on cancer risk. It can make a significant impact on digestive health. So whether or not things are moving well through your digestive system, whether or not you experience indigestion, whether or not you end up with global inflammation or bloating and dysregulation of your microbiome because your gut isn't being fed enough polyphenols. And then it can also make a significant difference with regard to your metabolic health. And so I want to dig into that. Before I dig into that, though, I want to show you some sources of polyphenols just from my house. All right, so you guys like blackberries? I love blackberries. We got a blackberry bush growing. I'm planting a couple more, but these are just from the grocery store. Blackberries are an amazing source of polyphenols. One of the ways that you can know if a food is a polyphenol or has a lot of polyphenolic compounds in it, one, it's a plant. We don't generally get polyphenols from our animal-based foods. So as much as I love steak and as much as I love sardines and as much as I love oysters, polyphenols aren't coming from the kingdom Animalia, okay? They're coming from kingdom Plantae, and, well, a plant is going to have some polyphenolic compounds in it. The other way you know if you're getting polyphenols is it colorful? That's not the only thing, but many polyphenols fall into a class called a flavonoid or a carotenoid. They're two different classes of similar compounds. Flavonoids have a smell and a taste. That's why they're called flavonoids. That's why it's called flavor. which is pretty cool. Flavor comes from flavonoids. So, or some flavors do come from flavonoids. And so like if it's really colorful, like a blackberry, and a lot of berries are like that. A lot of fruits are like that actually. So like blueberries and raspberries and strawberries and pineapples, these all have polyphenols in them. And, one of the things that's hard about the diet world is everybody's heard that too much sugar is bad for you, which is true, especially in your processed foods where it's really simple to break down the sugar in it, and it elevates your blood sugar, and you've got other carbohydrates that are elevating your blood sugar and lots of fats and stuff, not very metabolically healthy. But then fruits get a bad rap. Like, oh no, sugar's in my day, I need to get rid of fruit. Like, some fruits will hit your system a little harder than others. Like a really ripe banana, that's kind of a sugar bomb. Not saying it's bad for you. There's some of my clients that I don't recommend bananas for because they're wrestling with blood sugar issues. But that doesn't mean that things like strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries don't have a good place in your diet, because you do need those polyphenolic compounds. You do need something to operate in the capacity that polyphenols operate. I'll talk about more about the operation in a second, but I want this to be intensely practical today. So if you're not eating berries on a regular basis, especially right now when they're in season and they're relatively cheap at the grocery store, I mean, nothing's cheap at the grocery store right now, but these are cheaper than usual at the grocery store, then you can get some good polyphenols from these things, these complex molecules that operate in a bunch of different amazing ways in your body that have nothing to do with calories. Kat says, I love color in my food. It makes me happy. Yeah, when you get to sit down to like a breakfast or a lunch and it's just so colorful. I think that's one of the things I love about having chickens in our backyard. Their eggs are so colorful, not just the shell. Kristen picked our chickens based on their eggshell color, which is really cute. I want green eggs. Like, well, when you crack them, they all look the same, but the yolks are so bright. They got that orange yellow color, and sit down to a plate of eggs. It's so good. I went out to breakfast recently and ate with somebody, and like the plate of eggs came to my table and I was like, what's wrong with these eggs? Because they're not like, oh, it's not like the sun shining on my plate. Scott says, I love strawberries. Strawberries are a great source of polyphenolic compounds. Another source of polyphenols, I've got a few different things here. I'm a big fan of aloe juice. Aloe juice is a really good source of polyphenols. Aloe has somewhere I want to say it's 23 to 26 unique polyphenolic compounds in it, and we still don't know what they're all doing. So like if you've gotten a sunburn and you put aloe on it, one of the reasons that aloe helps to heal things, it has a slight analgesic effect, it has a slight antibacterial effect. It also seems to promote cellular proliferation, which is a fancy way of saying your skin grows back faster. So the polyphenolic compounds in aloe seem to be promoting healing, and they can do the same thing for the digestive tract. So I recommend aloe juice. I've talked about that in the past, but aloe is a very powerful source of polyphenolic compounds. And here's another one. Here's another cool one. Organic beetroot powder. You can eat beets. That'll do it too. Heat tends to denature polyphenols, which means these compounds, they're very robust and complex. If you heat them to a really high temperature, they'll break down and they won't be as potent. They won't be as powerful. So like the blackberries that I'm eating here, they have a really high level of polyphenols. If I turn it into blackberry jam, it still has a great blackberry taste. It's still probably better than no polyphenols, but when you actually put the chemical molecules side by side, the uncooked blackberries have a lot more polyphenol compounds in them than the cooked blackberries. And the same thing with beets. If you eat canned beets, for instance, the canned beets have been at a really high temperature, and so a lot of the polyphenols have broken down. So I like beetroot powder because they've been pulverized. So the actual powder itself still holds a lot of those polyphenolic compounds, and you can tell because the color's there. It's actually it's like super purple. Can you see this? You see my finger here? I put some of this in my yogurt the other day and it came out too fast. And later, before bed, I went to pee and it was purple. This purple pee. I was like, whoa, what happened to my kidneys? But that's how robust those flavonoid particles are. Some of them even end up in your urinary tract. So that's fun. I wouldn't recommend overdoing it. on the beetroot powder. But the polyphenols in beetroot has actually been shown to improve exercise performance. So you end up with increased blood flow, and performance cyclists will actually supplement with beets on a regular basis. It's called betaine is the supplemental form of beetroot powder. And they'll consume that just prior to like the Tour de France or maybe another cycling event that they're up to. Marathon runners will do the same thing. And it actually has increased VO2 max and reduced the amount of muscle breakdown. And that's just polyphenols. There's nothing special outside of these special compounds from the plants. There's no like special ratio of proteins to carbohydrates or a special type of sugar. It's simply these compounds. Polyphenols are really wild and important. We barely understand the healing power in plants and the ability of our body to use those things and to benefit from those things. So one of the ways that polyphenols actually operate is as an antioxidant. Say it with me, antioxidant. What that means is the molecules themselves can keep bad byproducts from doing damage on the inside of our body. So you might not know this about yourself, but you are an engine. You're an internal combustion engine. At the very base of every one of your cells is a reaction that looks a lot like the reaction that goes on in your car to burn gasoline as fuel. It's called combustion. The same thing's happening in you, just in a very microscopic level. You're not exploding. It's tiny little explosions. The electrons are doing their thing, right? But as you know, gas in your car burning produces pollution. Now, it's not the same thing in the body. You're not, black flogs of smoke in every cell, mitochondria on fire. Like that's not exactly the same thing. But one of the byproducts of a combustion reaction that's happening at every level of your cell is what's called a free radical, an oxidative free radical. And those free radicals have so much potential to destroy some of the structures around the cell that your body has to work really hard to clear out those free radicals from the body. And the more you can keep those free radicals down, the more you can keep the pollution of metabolism down, the more likely you are to be robust, to be resilient. So if we want to have a high metabolism, that means that we keep a lot of good muscle tissue around. We're very well conditioned. We have great energy. Our hormones are all doing what they're supposed to. Our immune system's doing what it's supposed to. None of the lights are off, so to speak. If we want to have a high metabolism, one of the ways that we stay healthy while keeping a high metabolism, because high metabolism, high rate of energy, that means that we're creating a lot of free radicals. One of the ways we do that is make sure our diet's high in polyphenols. And this is something that I push on my clients pretty regularly in coaching is, look, we're growing muscle. We're getting more conditioned. You're elevating the energy that you have in your body. Please, let's add these things into your diet so that you're supporting that healthy metabolic function. I see it all the time in workout programs. People will join like CrossFit or jump on the P90X train and they'll be working out 5 days a week. They'll go from 0 to 5 days a week, like hardcore, right? And they get tired and they get sick and they get injured. And the question is why? Well, you ramp up all this activity, you definitely need to fuel it. The carbs, the fats, the proteins, you need to fuel recovery and fuel the process, but you also need to support healthy metabolic function. And in our day and age, when it's so easy to choose foods that have no polyphenolic value, meaning they don't have any of these colorful carotenoids that I'm talking about or colorful flavonoids that I'm talking about, when you can choose to, eat pretzels instead of blackberries, then the default for most people is to consume foods that don't really have this stuff in them. So hugely important. And my question for you is, where is the color in your diet coming from? When you look at what you eat in a day, where's the color coming from? Are you getting things like blackberry in your life? Are you getting things like beetroot powder? Or I really like goji berry. I don't like the taste of goji berries, but I like goji berry powder. I'll throw that in my yogurt too. Where are you getting polyphenols in your life? I'd love to know where you're getting those things from, because it can be really helpful to you. Janet says she's been juicing beets. That's like really, really intensely purple, huh? So I hope this is helpful to you. On Word Thursday, going through the word polyphenol, it's a check. I do this pretty regularly in my diet. I look, okay, what am I eating? Am I getting good color in my diet? Am I getting good colorful fruits, good colorful vegetables, And if the answer is no, I go to some of my favorites. And I've shown you some of my favorites today. I make sure that I'm eating blackberries pretty regularly. I'm not saying I have a cup a day, like it's really expensive, but I do eat blackberries regularly. I grab 5 to 8 of them as I'm walking by the fridge a couple times a week. I keep aloe juice on hand. I keep this beetroot powder and goji berry powder in my pantry. And when I've noticed that I've not been getting a lot of color in my diet this week, then I consciously add these things back into it. But these aren't the only source of polyphenols. We get them from our spices. So things like turmeric. The reason that there's so many studies on turmeric for lowering inflammation and helping things like rheumatoid arthritis pain, or even improving some of the symptoms of Alzheimer's, the reason for that is all of the polyphenols in turmeric. Very, very powerful antioxidants in that spice. So I'd love to hear from you. Where are you getting these in your diet? Or do you know if you get these at all? This might be something you want to check out on the Faithful 40 challenge. Hey, Alex, here's what I ate today. Are there any polyphenols in here? And if not, how do I get some? I'd be happy to look through that with you. So thank you for joining me on Word Thursday. I know this was a little nerdier than usual, or maybe I'm just this nerdy all the time and I just feel like talking about chemistry sounds nerdy, but I appreciate you guys for joining me and for nerding out with me here. I hope that this helps you on your 1% better journey. I know it's helped me a lot. Until next time, guys, tomorrow is Flex Friday. It's just 1%. You got this.
Thank you for joining us for your 1% Better today. Don't forget to subscribe for the podcast. Leave us a raving review to tell others how Better Daily has helped you in your journey. If you want more Better Daily, download our app and join our Betterment family at betterdaily.live. Use code POD to get 25% off your subscription. That's POD, all caps, to save 25% on your subscription. We all have a cross to carry. It's lighter when we do it together. Go to betterdaily.live today.